Chiefs Kingdom, welcome back to another episode of All Chiefed Up. We're back with another podcast for that ass, and we just seen a record-breaking contract for Christopher Jones. We're going to talk about that more in depth. We've got all the contract breakdowns, but Steve, free agency's on Wednesday. What is next for Brett Veach and the Chiefs? Let's talk about it.
Before we get the show started, make sure to hit that like button and hit that subscribe button. Help your boys out. Mike, I think the next move that Chiefs Kingdom wants to see is a little bit of wide receiver action. That's what they're waiting for, baby.
I think we need some pass catcher action. I found this article today. The Chiefs named landing spot for veteran free agent wide receiver worth $68 million. Who could it be? According to SportRack's calculated market value, Calvin Ridley's market value is 4 years, $68.2 million. That's an average annual value of $17 million. They go on to say Ridley, 29, was a first-round pick, 26 overall of the Atlanta Falcons in 2018, as the number 2 option in the passing game alongside Julio Jones with quarterback Matt Ryan under center. Ridley recorded 64 receptions for 821 yards and 10 touchdowns in his rookie year, 63 receptions, 866 yards, and 7 touchdowns in year 2, according to Pro Football Reference. And we know that when he got to Jacksonville, he has produced, Steve. What do you think about Calvin Ridley coming to KC? I know you're a big Calvin Ridley guy.
So, yeah, I've been big on Calvin Ridley before he even got in trouble.
Right.
Like, I liked Calvin Ridley way back when he first came into the league over there with Atlanta. Mike, I even told you right here on this show when he got in trouble and he was suspended for a year, I was like, now's a good time for us to go after Calvin Ridley. I thought we might make a play at him, but we didn't do it. But either way, here we are. The Chiefs need a wide receiver. They've needed one. We all know that's a hole in the offense right now. We got Chris Jones locked up. That was priority number 1. Priority number 2 now is we got to find somebody that can catch the freaking ball for Patrick Mahomes.
Right.
And protect him, by the way. So left tackle is a thing.
Right.
Not going to throw that out there and say wide receiver is number 1 priority, but it's definitely a priority. My thing is, Mike, we have a whole list of who's more likely to sign with the Chiefs as a wide receiver.
Right.
We've talked about it before. We've been over it. Calvin Ridley was on that list.
Right.
He was down at number 4. The reason why he's at number 4 is because of the $17 million a year cap hit. That's why.
That's it.
Well,
if
something
you took
in that
money out of the
range.
equation, though, Steve, we probably put Calvin Ridley right at the top of the list.
Well, he fits just as well as the rest of the guys. And the thing about Calvin Ridley that Marquise Brown, Curtis Samuel, and Darnell Mooney don't have is the track record. Calvin Ridley's already proven. He showed you what he can do, and he's done it year after year. And that's the kind of guy that Kansas City needs Patrick Mahomes to throw the ball to. Somebody we can trust, somebody we know can get the job done.
Right. I'm a huge Calvin Ridley fan, man. If you look back at some of his PFF numbers this year, he flourished. His receiving grade for the year was tied, or it was a 72.2. I was going to say it tied his offensive grade, but it didn't. His offensive grade was a little weaker, 71.4. But, dude, he doesn't drop the ball much. He doesn't fumble the ball much. He always produces. In his entire career, he has now played 4 seasons in Atlanta and 1 in Jacksonville. And the cat has 4,358 receiving yards and 36 touchdowns. That right there takes care of the red zone. We need the red zone threat. We need that.
Absolutely.
Just signing back McCole Hardman does not make that red zone threat solved. It just doesn't do it. We need a caliber signing like Calvin Ridley to increase our offense, because look, Chris Jones was the first domino to fall in this offseason on our way to a 3-peat, Steve. And Calvin Ridley would be a big piece. It would be a big piece. And I believe when we break down the contract in a minute, we're going to break down the contract for Chris Jones. I believe there's still a lot of wiggle room for another big splash.
You think there's some meat on the bone for a big-time wide receiver?
Oh, yeah.
You think?
Some big meat on a big bone.
The thing about it is, man, I feel like the Chiefs have to be smart. They can't go out and do anything to put themselves in cap trouble going forward. A lot of people are worried about that with the Chris Jones signing, but we will talk about that more in a minute, like you said. But Calvin Ridley, if he's going to be a market value of $17 million, I'm sure they can work a contract out where Brett Veach kind of worked one out with MVS where he had an out after 2 years. He only had to pay $11 million for the first 2 years. They can come up with something to where this is feasible. And I think that they should very much look at a wide receiver option in free agency as opposed to the draft, just for the single fact that you can double dip and draft one that could be good in the future. But I think we need somebody proven right now. I think we've been taking shots in the draft over and over again. The first time we've actually hit on one was Rashee Rice. Well, let's go ahead and get him somebody in there that he can mentor Rashee Rice and also help Rashee Rice take some heat off of Travis Kelce. Travis Kelce's not the young buck anymore. He's getting a little bit older. He's only got a few years left probably. I think we have to get somebody in here that can alleviate some pressure alongside Rashee Rice. Kind of do a little double duty. We're going to mentor Rice. We're going to help take some slack off of Kelsey.
Right.
That's what we need. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. Don't have to sign him to 5 years. Just a 2-year deal is all we're looking at. We want to maintain. We want to keep being competitive. We want to three-peat, but not only do we want to three-peat, we want to four-peat. We want to five-peat.
Right.
We want to six-peat. We got to keep it going, baby.
Calvin Ridley, he's getting ready to turn 30. But, dude, MVS the same. MVS is a little bit older than he is, actually.
Right.
I want to say it's by 2 months, something like that. But if you just look at MVS, and I'm not saying they're the same caliber wide receiver at all, it's obvious that MVS is below Calvin Ridley.
Right.
But when you look at the pay scale, it's not that much difference. The production you get at $17 million far outweighs the production you were getting at $11 million. You were almost getting production from MVS on a contract you would expect out of a Justin Watson at $2 million a year. That's what's so crazy. So if you
Justin
could pay
Watson
$11
probably
million,
outperformed him,
right?
Over the
and if
year,
you can pay $11 million, then I think $17 million is not bad. And again, will he sign for maybe less than $17 million? It is possible. I think he could sign somewhere around 15 to 16
it's the way they structure the contracts up, Mike. Yeah, market value is $17 million, which means if he signs a 3-year deal, it can average to $17 million, but it's backloaded. So maybe after 2 years, if you're not producing, you're not getting that third year. The same way they did to MVS.
Exactly. You're going to do that anyways. Brett Veach does all contracts like that. He's even done that pretty much in this new Chris Jones deal, which we keep alluding to. But before we get to that, I will say this. Again, looking back at MVS, he averaged a receiving grade this year of a 51.7. In comparison to Ridley, 72.2. And by the way, I get it. Kylo Ren over there playing quarterback. Kylo Ren over there. They're out here throwing out draft picks to get backup scrubs on their team now. Like they're here making trades for Mac Jones. What are they doing? But I'm not saying Trevor Lawrence is the worst quarterback ever, but he's not Patrick Mahomes quality. But with Trevor Lawrence, this dude's putting up 72.2 receiving grade, and MVS with Patrick Mahomes is putting up 51. So he's 20 points behind. I'm telling you, it's going to be a huge upgrade to pull in Calvin Ridley. I don't think anybody argues that it's going to be a huge upgrade. They're just going to say, can we afford it? And I believe now we're going to talk about the Chris Jones thing a little bit and show you how it is possible we could afford it, Steve. So let's jump right into that one. Chris Jones tweeted this today. Clark Hunt, A+. He's throwing a little shade to all the people that said Clark Hunt was an F, by the way. He got paid. He's an A+ now. This is the article from our favorite guy, Pro Football Talks, Mike Florio. He said, inside the new deal for Chiefs defensive tackle Chris Jones, Steve. Mike Florio, do you have any words about Mike Florio before we go?
Slap nuts.
Slap nuts. Okay, let's go on. Here we go. Jones becomes the highest paid defensive tackle in the league with a new 5-year deal, $158.75 million deal. The average is $31.75 million. It surpasses the $31.67 million average from the 3-year, $95 million contract signed by Rams defensive tackle Aaron Donald in 2022. Again, here are the details of the deal per a source with knowledge of the situation. So check this out, Steve. This is step by step. Number one, he gets a signing bonus of $30 million. $18 million is due by April 5th. So just here in a month, $12 million is due by April 5th, 2025. Okay. So a lot, $30 million up front of the signing bonus. 2024's base salary is only $1.25 million fully guaranteed. How crazy is that? Number three, his 2024 offseason workout bonus is $100K. So this year he'll get $100K for working out in the offseason. Number four, 2025 roster bonus, he will make $15 million fully guaranteed at the signing. In 2025's base salary, $13.75 million fully guaranteed. 2025 offseason workout bonus, another $100K. Okay, 2026 roster bonus, $16 million guaranteed for injury at signing, and fully guaranteed as of the third day of the 2025 league year. So somewhere around March 18th of 2025. Number 8, 2026 base salary of $19 million, guaranteed for injury at signing and fully guaranteed as of the third day of the 2025 league year. Number 9, 2026 offseason workout. Guess what? It's $100K again. These are the last few, and I know this is a lot of info. 2027 base salary, $28.25 million, $3 million, which becomes fully guaranteed on the third day of the 2027. He gets the same $100K offseason workout, and in 2028, his base salary is $35 million, $3 million on the third day of the league year, 2028 offseason workout bonus of $100K. So that was a lot of info. You can go back and read it, whatever. But this is basically what it boils down to. I found a tweet here by Connor Christopherson. This cat knows what he's talking about. He breaks down contracts. He says, number one, he was right in the general structure of this. Nice. So he kind of projected this. Number two, he basically says salary cap hit is only going to be $7.35 million this year. So Brett Veach now made a guy that, look, if you would have put a franchise tag on him and not got it signed, he was going to be 32, 33 mil. And we're going to get Chris Jones this year at $7.35 million. Look at all that cap space that essentially frees up. And then he says 34.85 cap hit next year. So that will definitely be restructured some. And then his last outlook was Jones did get a bit more real money in year 2 and year 3, but it looks like this deal will be restructured a few times. Steve, the way Brett Veach has set this up, not much money in the front. Most of his Aaron Donald, more than Aaron Donald pay, come off $100K workout bonuses for 4 years. Okay, how clever is that? And then he's got some outs here. You may not see Chris Jones if he doesn't perform after he's 32 years old, which is 2 years into this contract. There are outs. There are outs here. So, again, he conceded to let Chris Jones have what he wanted. But Brett Veach done a pretty good job of setting it up to where, hey, if you don't produce, there are outs.
Not only are there outs, but it's just the way that he has it kind of. Chris Jones is going to have to,
right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
I don't even know what I'm saying right now. What was I saying?
I know what you're saying. You're saying that he's got it set up the way that Chris Jones has to perform, but it still puts him around Aaron Donald. You know what I'm saying? Because Chris Jones wanted to be Aaron Donald. He wanted to beat him.
Well, what I was going to say was close to that, but it's going to be where he, like this guy I mentioned, the Christopherson guy, he's going to have to restructure a few times. Yeah. Like he's going to make it to where he can free up cap space every year. And as long as Chris Jones is, compliant in that, they're going to do that kind of like they've been doing with Patrick Mahomes. But at the same time, Chris Jones gets to have the big wiener, Mike. He gets to be the $32 million guy.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like he's the cock of the walk. He's the most paid guy.
He's the quarterback of the defense.
Yes, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like he's that guy. And he's got that confidence. He's got that swagger. I'm the top paid defensive tackle ever in the history of the National Football League. But it's still feasible and affordable for the Chiefs. So A+ Brett Veach on getting this one done.
Right.
A lot of people were worried about how this was going to go, or Brett Veach is being cheap, don't want to spend the money, or Clark Hunt's cheap and won't write a check, or blah, 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 blah. But as you just read, there's a lot of information that goes into this.
Right.
And it took a while to get done. But I think they did it masterfully.
Yes.
Brett Veach and crew.
Masterfully. Yeah, and I totally get what you were trying to say. You were trying to basically say that Chris Jones got what he wanted. Brett Veach did it in a way that pleased Brett Veach. And it also holds Chris Jones accountable and says, look, you want to be the quarterback of the defense? You want to keep winning championships? Now you may have to restructure just a little bit. You may have to give and take. You want to be the Mahomes of the D, give and take. You have to perform. You can't get to 32 and 33 and just show up and we're going to pay you. Like there are outs here. So I think it was a masterfully done contract. A lot of people, there's still a few subset of Chiefs Kingdom on the fence here. They think this is a bad contract. Steve, they just want to whine. That's all there is to it. Like, there's no pleasing some of these people, right?
Some people are never going to get out of the Chiefs don't have money for that. They're never going to get out of it.
I talked to somebody yesterday and I said that same thing. I was like, is the Chiefs fan base? It's been so masterfully done by the Chiefs front office that since the beginning of the salary cap, we have been ingrained in our heads that we don't have money. Ever. We've never had money since the day one of the salary cap.
But they also think that every player should bend their knee to the organization.
Very strange, isn't it?
They think that we never have the money to do anything or sign anybody. It's like they've been trained to be losers.
Trained?
It's crazy. Like, I know we went through a big stretch as Chiefs fans to where there wasn't a whole lot to cheer about sometimes. But good Lord, they really put you guys down in the bottom of the barrel and left you there for dead, and you're just accepting it. Now it's time to move on. We're winners now.
Hey,
let's get back to some,
baby. I agree. Let's get back to some free agency talk, Steve. Bleacher Report actually released an article. NFL free agency 2024, one player each team should not re-sign. Any ideas who you think they say we shouldn't re-sign?
I don't know.
I'm throwing it up. Here we go. Donovan Smith, offensive tackle. While a sensible addition to free agents, free agency last year, Donovan Smith more repeated a mediocre 2022 than returning to his 2021 form. He played every snap at left tackle when healthy, but endured several rough performances, including an uninspiring day in the Super Bowl. They're saying we should just go ahead, cut ties with him. They didn't really say we should look at somebody else in free agency, but we've looked through that, Steve. Here's our free agency. This is how we got. Donovan Smith, he was the best option probably. Tyron Smith, who is 33, and he's going to cost almost $10 million a year. And then we have Cornelius frickin' Lucas out here from the Commanders. I think I'd just take my chances with Wanye at this point and let it slide.
Right now, I think if they don't go in the draft and make a splash in the first round and pick a guy that they can use there, I think you're looking at Wanye. Because by all means, isn't Wanye just as effective as Donovan Smith?
Right.
Like, honestly, don't think there's a bit, like, if
there
there
wasn't
is a
much of a
drop-off there,
drop-off.
it's minuscule. So I think you go ahead and stay with the young buck, let him get more experience, and go that route. I don't think it's much worse than having Donovan Smith there, so why even re-sign him? I agree with that.
Well, let us know in the chat what you guys think. Anything we talked about, put it in the comments section. Have some beautiful discourse with the ACU crew. And with that, thanks for liking. Thanks for subscribing. Hit that bell for us. We're out. Till next time. Go Chiefs.